Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is Tuesday, January 27, 2026. And I want to start today by asking you to just look around, wherever you are right now, whether you're squeezed onto a train, maybe you're in a home office or one of those new third spaces. You are literally sitting inside today's topic.
It is rare that the topic is something literally surrounding the listener at this exact moment.
It is. And usually when we talk about tech or AI, we're talking about, code, agents, software, things that live in the cloud.
Yeah.
But today, we are grounding it. We're talking concrete, steel, glass.
And the massive physical restructuring of everything over the last 3 years. And it's left us with a very, very confusing picture if you don't know where to look.
Confusing is putting it lightly. I was looking at the real estate numbers from the end of 2025 last night.
Yeah.
And honestly, you get whiplash. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
On one hand, you have the national U.S. office vacancy rate. It's sitting at a painful 20.5%. That's 1 in 5 offices just collecting dust.
Which looks like a collapse. Historically, that's a depression.
Exactly. But then you turn the page and you look at the tech hubs, Silicon Valley, parts of Austin, or you look at these trophy buildings in New York, and they're booming.
Occupancy is over 80%. Rents are at all-time highs.
So that's our mission today. We need to figure out why half the market seems to be dying while the other half is absolutely on fire. Is the office dead, or is it just different?
It's definitely different. And I think the sources we've pulled for this, particularly the AI in the workplace reports, they all point to one catalyst.
Yeah.
And it's not just remote work.
And it's not just interest rates.
No, it's artificial intelligence.
But wait, the usual argument is that AI kills office demand, right? Yeah. If an AI agent does the work, you don't need the human, so you don't need the building.
That's the surface level take. That's the headline. The deeper thesis here is that AI hasn't just replaced tasks, it's fundamentally redesigned the nature of work itself.
And because the work has changed.
The container for that work, the building, has to change too. The old rule of thumb, taking your head count and multiplying it by 175 square feet.
Yeah. That era is officially dead.
So we're looking at a complete rewrite of the math of how we use space.
We are. And to get it, we really have to look at 3 things. First, this K-shaped split in the market. Second, the hidden explosion in data centers. And third, what a smart building actually means in 2026.
Okay, let's start with that K-shape. I hear that term in economics all the time, but how does it apply to, the building down the street?
The experts call it dispersion. The market has just split into these very clear winners and losers. The bottom leg of that K, those are the losers. They're what we call commodity B and C class buildings.
Paint me a picture. What does a Class B building actually feel like when you walk in?
Oh, you know these places.
Yeah.
You probably work in one. Built in the 90s, maybe the 2010s. Beige walls, dropped ceilings, fluorescent lights that have that little hum.
A cube farm.
It's a cube farm. It was designed for one thing and one thing only. Warehousing humans who are typing into computers for 8 hours a day.
The fluorescent factory? I think I spent the first 5 years of my career in one of those. Exactly. And those assets are facing what the reports call accelerated obsolescence. They're emptying out because their whole purpose, a place to type alone, isn't valuable anymore.
Okay, so then the top of the K, the winners, those are the Class A plus trophy assets.
Right.
But here's where I get stuck. If I'm a CFO and budgets are tight, why wouldn't I just go to that cheap Class B building? They must be offering rock-bottom rent. Why pay a premium?
That's the logical question, but it's missing the AI piece. This goes back to a concept in the research, task substitution versus task augmentation.
Okay.
Think about all the work AI agents and co-pilots handle now. Routine drafting, data entry, summarizing meetings.
All the heads-down work. The stuff that used to take up 60% of my day.
Correct. So if AI handles all that routine stuff, why would you commute 45 minutes to sit in a beige cubicle to do it? You just wouldn't. The factory model is broken because the factory work is being automated.
So the only reason to actually come into an office is for the stuff AI can't do.
Exactly. People are coming in for what the reports call high bandwidth collaboration. Negotiation, complex problem solving, mentorship, the messy human stuff.
And you can't do that messy stuff in a beige box.
You can't. You need a space that actually fosters interaction, that feels vibrant. So companies are leasing less total space, but they're paying more per square foot for what they keep.
They're trading quantity for quality.
That is the trade-off. They shed the square footage to reinvest in experience and technology, and that's why you see these huge gaps in the data. I mean, look at Greater Los Angeles vacancy is at 25.1%.
And that's because it's full of those older, sprawling office parks.
Yes, exactly. They're just too far of a drive for too little payoff. But then you look at Silicon Valley,
They're better.
16.1%. Because the tech boom is driving demand for that exact kind of high collaboration space. The office has to be a precision instrument now, not a blunt object.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's get into the weeds. How does a company actually figure this out now? I love this section on the translation layer because for decades, it was just simple arithmetic.
It was simple. Now it's more like algebra. The sources lay out this new demand model. Demand equals headcount times attendance rate times space per attendee. But then there's a multiplier.
The collaboration premium.
That's the variable that changes everything.
It sounds a little like marketing jargon. What does a collaboration premium actually mean physically? What does it look like?
It means the whole layout is inverted. In 2019, an office was maybe 70% desks and 30% meeting rooms.
Right.
Now we're seeing a shift to a 2-to-1 desk sharing ratio. So 2 employees for every 1 desk.
Because no one is sitting there all day. You come in, you drop your bag, and you go to a meeting.
Right. So that extra space gets turned into huddle rooms, Zoom rooms, which are still a huge pain point even now in serendipity zones.
Serendipity zones. Okay, I have to stop you there. That sounds like a startup putting a ping pong table in the break room and calling it culture. Is that real?
It used to be a buzzword, I think, but now it's actual architectural science. It's about flow. It's about designing corridors and coffee stations so that engineers from Team A literally bump into product managers from Team B.
So you're engineering those collisions.
You have to. If the main value of the office is the collision of ideas, you can't just hope it happens. It turns the office from a factory into a, what did the report call it?
A coordination engine.
A coordination engine. That's it. You go there to coordinate, not to create in a silo.
But here's the paradox that really stood out to me. You would think the companies building the AI, the ones automating all this work.
You'd think they'd be the first to go fully virtual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If anyone has the tools to work remotely, it's the people building the tools. But the data says the complete opposite.
It's the great irony of 2026. The architects of the virtual world are the most aggressive buyers of the physical world.
I mean, the lease signings are nuts. Databricks took 338,000 square feet in Sunnyvale. OpenAI is expanding like crazy in Bellevue. NVIDIA is basically eating San Francisco. Why?
2 big reasons. First, follow the money. San Francisco AI companies raised $103 billion in VC funding since 2020. That has to go somewhere.
And investors want to see people working together.
They want to see the energy, yeah. But the second reason is what they call decision cycle acceleration. In the AI arms race, things move so fast that waiting for a scheduled Zoom call is just too slow.
You need everyone in the same room, iterating in real time.
Proximity equals speed, and in that industry, speed equals survival.
Okay, so that's the front stage, the office. But reading these reports, it feels like the bigger story, or at least the more expensive one, is the backstage, where the AI actually lives.
We have to talk about data centers. This is the hidden giant of commercial real estate.
The sources called it the star performer. The numbers are they're hard to comprehend. We're looking at a projected $1 trillion investment in North American data centers between now and 2030.
It's a gold rush. We're on track to hit storage capacities of 21 zettabytes by 2027.
Zettabytes. I tried to look this up. 1 zettabyte is a trillion gigabytes. I mean, my brain just can't process that.
It's basically the entire history of human knowledge duplicated thousands of times over, sitting on servers in Virginia and Ohio.
Yeah.
But here's the catch, and this is what has investors really worried.
Okay.
The constraint isn't money, it's not land, it's not even chips anymore.
It's the plug.
It is power. The grid is sweating. Investors in this space, they are no longer underwriting square feet. They are underwriting megawatts.
And the demand is just exploding.
It's up 175% by 2030 compared to just a few years ago.
So what happens when a developer finishes a billion-dollar data center and calls the electric company?
The utility company often says, great building, we can turn it on in 3 years.
3 years, just sitting there dark.
We're seeing time to power gaps of 12 to 36 months. We can build the server racks way faster than we can build the substations to power them.
That is an insane amount of capital just sitting idle.
And it's forcing this huge geographic shift. Data centers are popping up in places like West Texas, not because the tech talent is there, but simply because there's extra power on the grid. They are literally chasing electrons.
Which is causing friction. The reports mentioned community pushback, moratoriums.
Absolutely. Imagine you live in a small town. A data center moves in. It creates, what, maybe 30 permanent jobs, but it uses as much water as a small city and so much power that your local REITs might go up.
It's an extractive industry in a way.
It is, and the not in my backyard movement for data centers is becoming a really serious political force. The cloud has a very heavy, very physical footprint.
I want to pivot back to the buildings humans actually use. We talked about trophy assets. What makes a building a trophy in 2026? Is it just marble floors?
No, luxury is just table stakes now. It's about IQ. The smart building of 2026 is a living asset.
We've heard smart building for a decade, and it usually just means the lights turn off when you stop moving.
That was smart building 1.0. We're in the 3.0 era now. This is all AI-driven predictive operations.
Okay, give me a real-world example.
Take the HVAC system. In a normal building, you fix the AC when it breaks and everyone's complaining.
Right.
In a 2026 smart building, you have vibration sensors on the chillers. The AI analyzes that data and says, that bearing is going to fail in 3 weeks.
So they fix it before it breaks.
Predictive maintenance. The sources say this cuts emergency repair costs by 30%. But it goes further. The building uses real-time occupancy sensors to know that, say, the finance team works from home on Fridays.
So it just shuts down the 4th floor.
It dials it back, reduces airflow, dims lights. It's optimizing energy based on who is actually there, minute by minute.
Which sounds incredibly efficient.
Yep.
But it also sounds like a massive vulnerability.
It's a huge risk factor. A smart building is a hackable building. We call it OT, or operational technology. For a long time, OT was separate from IT. Your air conditioner wasn't on the internet.
Now it is.
Now it is. And someone could hack it to trap people in elevators. Or, more subtly, use the thermostat as a backdoor to get into a tenant's corporate network.
That's terrifying. So real estate is no longer a passive asset class.
Not at all. It's an operating business that demands data fluency and serious cybersecurity. Tenants now demand privacy by design in their leases.
So if we pull this all together, we have offices becoming these collaborative clubs, we have warehouses turning into robot gyms.
And data centers eating the power grid.
Where did that leave the whole concept of the HQ, the headquarters? Do we even need one anymore?
The HQ is shifting from being a container for people to being a culture anchor.
A culture anchor.
Think about the junior employees, the Gen Z cohort. They can't learn by osmosis over Zoom. You have to be in the room to learn how to handle a crisis. You need to feel the tension.
So the HQ is a learning center.
It's like a university campus mixed with a luxury hotel. You go there for an experience, to be mentored, to feel like you're part of the tribe.
It's almost like the work, the typing, the spreadsheets happens at home, but your career happens at the HQ.
That's a perfect way to put it. The building builds the career. The home office builds the product.
So what's the synthesis here? What's the big takeaway?
The big picture is that the middle is dying. The mediocre, average commodity office building is in real trouble. But the high-end, the smart, secure, collaborative spaces, they're booming.
And the narrative that AI would kill the office was?
It was false. AI didn't kill the office. It killed the mediocre office.
That's a powerful place to land. Survival of the fittest for architecture. But before we sign off, there was one thought in the sources that really stuck with me. It was about occupancy intelligence.
Yes. This is the lingering question.
We talked about smart buildings knowing where you are to save energy. But if your building knows exactly where you are, who you're meeting with, how long you spent in the break room.
It really raises the question, as we optimize for efficiency, are we surveillance-proofing our own workspaces?
Exactly. We want the serendipity, but do we want the tracking that comes with it?
What happens to your privacy when your workplace is tracking your every move just to save a few kilowatts? It's a trade-off we're going to have to navigate very, very carefully.
Something to think about the next time the lights turn on automatically when you walk into a room. Thanks for taking the deep dive with us.